And here we flat queens. This is a board I'm gonna do, although it's ace high, I will definitely have a decent betting range here. Because I will have like quite a bit of king queen, some kings, some queens, some connection to the board. So I could definitely find some bets, and this makes a decent bluff with my bear blockers. And I'm going to bet again. We're gonna pot the river. Everyone, what's up? And welcome back to a new episode here with some Pot Limit Omaha content. Today, we're gonna fire up 2 tables of Zoom on Pokerstars, and we're gonna play PLO 100. I'm gonna give commentary while I'm playing live here, so the action will be fast sometimes, but let's see how things are going. We're gonna jump right into the action. I'm gonna click on starting the tables here. I just played a couple of hands here, making sure everything is set up correctly. And as you can see, we have 2 tables lined up here. And I got a very simple HUD right now being active. You can see basically 4 stats that I will explain shortly to all of you. But first things first, 3 betting aces here, big blind versus button. And on this board, I do have a reasonable c-bet frequency for sure, because my 3-bet range will hit this board fairly well. But I will also have some hands that I'm going to check, hands that totally missed, and some very strong ones, and this one is definitely one that I'm gonna start off with a check. Hope to see a free card basically, and if he bets, I will probably end up check folding here. If I would have like a high club, for example, in my hand, I would definitely like to see a bet here. But against this sizing, we have a very easy fold. Mixing it up today, as you can see on Pokerstars, not playing on Party Poker or any other site today. And yeah, let's see how things will go. Here we are playing against a short stack in the cutoff. We can defend a little bit wider therefore, and I think this one is connected enough. Now on this flop, SPR is a little bit over 2. We can check to check raise, or we can pot, just lead and get it in. And I think I actually like the second option a little bit better. We have a lot of equity on the flop against almost anything. But if the flop goes check, check, and we miss, our hand becomes a little bit more vulnerable, especially with the 3 clubs. We're up against top pair. We have 61% equity. So let's see if we can hit. We don't. Yeah, as you can see, we get a basic HUD. We get the name of the player and the number of hands I got against this opponent. And then we have VPIP, PFR, and 3-bet. So 3 basic stats. Very simple, and I definitely recommend using at least those stats if you can. If you play on a site where a HUD is available, then these stats are, of course, the ones that you definitely want to have in there. If you want to know more about what sites are capable to play with a HUD, whatnot, feel free to reach out to me. I can definitely give you some advice or bring you in contact with someone that knows also a lot about this topic. So this is the second Play and Explain of this year. I'm gonna try to upload a couple of these in the beginning of the year, start the year strong by delivering some of these plays that I'm doing currently. Here we have Jack 10 5-5 on the button. I think this is fine enough to raise. I'm gonna raise around 50% of your hands here. And I think a lot of people miss out on like the last 10%, last 5 to 10% of hands. One of the mistakes I see people making a lot is raising a little bit too tight on the button. So here we have a gutter and low blockers. Like We play against a small blind. His board is decent for his range for sure. But our hand doesn't really play great as a check, and we got some future blockers on the low straight. We got some backdoor equity, so I don't mind bet folding this combination. I think checking is also totally okay, especially if the small blind plays a strategy where his cold calling range is well constructed. You got Jack, Jack, 9, 7. I will fold this hand in MP. I would open it from the cutoff. And here we got King, 9, 8, 7. Pre-flop, also a hand I'm going to fold, I think. I would open it from the cutoff for sure. MP, I think it's a little bit too weak. With the ace-high suit, I would definitely open that hand. And it's now 12 in the afternoon here in Holland. And there are 48 entries in the pool. This is the hand I'm going to fold, although it's double suited, like it's too disconnected. This is an interesting one. I think I'm going to defend it. Don't have the nut suit, but I do have connection for sure. What do we do now? I'm going to check again. And in the meantime, we are squeezing here. Trip aces. And on this board, we will stack off. Here, I'm gonna go for a river bet here. Get cold. Here, I'm gonna stack off. And we are up against an open-ended straight draw. Let's see if we can hold and we win. Nice. Not a hand you want to 3-bet on the button for sure. Let me quickly replay this hand after we are sitting out on a couple of tables here. So bringing in this hand here. We're sitting in a small blind here. Trip aces. Early position open raises. If the action would fall to me, I might want to just cold call this one. Not entirely sure, but the hand doesn't play as great. So this is a very, very marginal hand really. Unless you can get in a lot of money pre-flop, on which the flop action will become very easy basically. So now we face a 3-bet and we have an easy 4-bet with this combination. Very happy that he folds, because we will fold out decent equity versus this hand. This board, very dry, although it's two-toned, like with the 2 wheel cards. It doesn't hit his 3-betting range that much, so we have an easy bet to stack off here. And my opponent surprisingly shows up 8, 6, 6, 5 single suited trip. So with an open-ended straight draw here, no flush draw, no backdoor flush draw. Like these low pairs, especially single suited, no ace in there, having a gap, like definitely not a hand you want to come in for the 3-bet. You want to 3-bet hands generally, either for value, so high pairs with strong connectivity, being double suited, having an ace blocking 4-betting ranges, or rundowns, mainly double suited rundowns that are well connected and that can call 4-bets. Low pair single suited with a gap are definitely not candidates to, or not hands you want to really 3-bet here. You don't push any equity. The hand doesn't play great in a 3-bet pot. Versus 4-bet, you don't do well. So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's continue the action here. And see if we can find some cool hands here. Folding here and here in the small blind. I think this is a hand we want to fold. Like we want to raise around 35 to 40% of our hands in the small blind. Unless your opponent is heavily overfolding, you can raise much wider. And then the raising strategy in the small blind very fastly increases to sometimes even over 60, 70%. So keep that in mind. But I think that player was actually a regular. So I think just playing in normal frequencies there is the way to go. Open raising ace, queen, queen, 5 here. on this board, we will have a decent betting frequency. This one is a hand I'm going to check. I don't have any backdoors. I don't have any pair blockers. I don't have great runouts. Turn, I'm also checking. This card is definitely better for his range. And against the bet, we are check folding here. This hand with trip suited, I'm gonna fold actually. If it would be two suited, I would probably raise it up, or at least it would be a candidate to raise. But trip suited, the value of the hand definitely drops quite a bit. And if you're playing low stakes, you want to be selective generally when it comes to your RFI strategy from the earlier positions. Definitely a hand you want to open on the button here, again, aiming for around 50% to open, and any ace, king, ace, queen hands generally fit into that range. This would also be a hand I'm going to open raise here. And if someone else would have raised, I probably would fold this one. We face a 3-bet here by the button, and I am going to make the call here. We're double suited, even though the hand is disconnected. I think the hand is just strong enough to come in for the call here. And I'm gonna check fold here on the flop. We will have some check raises here for value and as a bluff, but we generally want to have either a strong mate hand or like an 8 blocker to the board. And here we call a flop c-bet and a turn c-bet. And on the river, I am going to value bet now with my 7 high flush. And we take it down. This hand is also very disconnected, so I'm just going to fold against a single raise here. Here again, one of those hands that we definitely want to raise in the small blind. And it's also a hand I can call versus a 3-bet. On this board, I do have a leading range, although it's not very high. The 3-better in the big blind will also connect very strongly here, but I could definitely find some leads. But this is not one of them. Again, focus on hands that either have a lot of equity and great runouts, or that have good blockers to your opponent's continuing range. And that's sort of the way to go. And then mixing in some leads versus check raises, for example. We open raise aces and we face a 3-bet, which is very nice. We're gonna come in for the 4-bet, of course. Definitely try to think a little bit about your timing tells here. Don't automatically auto-click 4-bet right away. Take a couple of seconds and then just go for it. He probably has aces as well, which he does. And he actually wins the first one there and hope to win the second one. No, we lose both. Wow. It's not great. Here we open raise button and we face a call, and I think here we can go either way really. We can bet small or we can check. On the turn, I'm gonna check again now. Don't see much reason to bet, and now we're gonna just check it down. Yeah, that's an unfortunate hand here. He actually turns straight on the second run out, so we are losing that one. And here we flat queens. This is a board I'm gonna do, although it's ace high, I will definitely have a decent betting range here, because I will have like quite a bit of king queen, some kings, some queens, some connection to the board. So I could definitely find some bets, and this makes a decent bluff with my bear blockers. And I'm going to bet again. We're gonna pot the river. And we get called by, yeah, very standard. He played that one fine, I would say. Ace king king jack, yeah. He could also bet the flop, or if he checks, he definitely wants to come in for the check call there, blocking the nut straight, of course. I like it. I like it a lot. I think my line is okay. We could have also given up on the turn, I think, when the flush draw comes in, which we don't have. But we had one flush draw blocker, so betting seems okay. Beautiful hand here. Ace queen jack 10, double suited. Unfortunately, we get a walk. We get ace jack 10-8, which we will raise, obviously. And with the nut suit, I like to flat here. If I would have the jack high suit, I would probably 3-bet fold this one. But this one plays fine, of course, in multi-way pots. And against the bet here, we got an easy fold. Yeah, definitely nice to play on Pokerstars also a little bit, of course. Software is very nice. And haven't played that much there. But always good to, every now and then, play some hands here. And there's still quite a bit of action here, especially if you play like PLO 200 or lower. I think then it's totally fine. Also to play here every now and then. But higher stakes, there's not much action running really, as far as I can tell here in the lobby. We have deuce 3-3. I will defend this one most likely. Not that great, even like a multi-way pot with like these low pairs. Not that great, of course, but it's fine on the turn. Don't think we have a hand that we want to bet still, so we're going to check. We could find like quite a bit of bets if we turn diamonds, for example, if you have like a pair blocker and a straight draw. If we have like a high diamond with a pair blocker, like those kind of hands, we could bet as a bluff there. And then, of course, some value hands. This is a hand I'm going to fold here against MP. I will open raise this one if I get the chance to. And we face a flat on the button. Flop top set. We get one spade in our hand. We don't have a straight blocker. Could bet or check, really. I think it's very close. I don't mind betting small here, really. There's still some hands that can continue against this bet that we beat. There's some protection against straight draws. If he raises, we can just call. But check calling there is also totally fine. And here we have the aces, which I'm misclicking actually. I would have liked to see myself pot raising here and here. Do we want to 3-bet or call? Not sure really. I think 3-betting is okay. As a bluff, of course, or 3-bet folding. We flop not much. Here, could get value from King X. There's some protection. Against that, for example. Here we are bet folding the flop. With my middle pair and backdoor flush draw, we got a 1 heart. But we get called, unfortunately. And on the turn, we are going to check. Interesting river. Like we get the 9s. We also get the ace. The hearts missed. I think if he checks, we do want to go ahead and bet, actually. But he bets, and now we are going to fold. Aces here. From MP, we get a flat caller on the button. We have the ace of spades. We have a very high checking frequency on this board. I'm gonna go ahead and start with a check here and take it from there. Against a half pot size bet. It's pretty close, pretty close. I'm gonna check. There is some EV in checking now with the straight draw, of course. He bets, and I think we want to raise. With my ace of spades, and we take it down. In the meantime, we see bet the flop here. My opponent calls. We're gonna barrel the turn also. We turn trips. Wow, he check raises here, and the money goes in. And we are up against 5s. But it is very nice. Set over set. Very unlucky for him, of course. Wow. We split the second one, guys. We split the second. Not running too hot in this session. Opening queens here, and we face a 3-bet, and we are going to call. And like we don't want to fold here, so it's either calling or jamming, and I think we want to go ahead and call. It's not a great turn. Not a great turn. Actually folding. And here we see bet 3-way out of position with top set, and my opponent pot raises, and I think we just want to get it in here. Against an open-ender. Against an open-ender. Let's see if we can win this one. We do win the first one. We also win the second one. That's nice. Okay. So definitely some big pots so far. And some interesting hands here. I would open raise with the ace high suit, but with the queen high suit, it's a little bit too weak. Let's see if we find some interesting hands. Let's quickly sit out for a second after these hands. Pretty close against MP. I think we can 3-bet fold this one. I don't really like flatting too much here. And on this board, I'm gonna bet small. Turn, I will check. And the river, yeah. Gonna check as well. Ace queen. Don't think he would have folded that one really. We might want to bet the turn there actually. I think that's also okay. So here, let's replay a couple of hands, or at least see if we have some hands. Here we get queen, queen, jack, jack, open raising from early position. Let's speed this up a little bit. Button flats and the big blind also calls. We flop top set. We could check and check raise or bet. If I would know that my opponent is betting aggressively, then I might want to consider check raising. As we have quite a bit of blockers to his stabbing range, I think betting is a little bit better here actually. I decide to bet small. My opponent pot raises, and I think he just doesn't have enough bet raise folds here to justify calling here. So therefore, I just want to get it in. And he stacks off very lightly here. This is definitely not a hand you want to raise with. Just want to flat here, or just want to call here on the button against my c-bet basically, and see a turn before putting in more money. He's definitely overplaying this hand. Let's see if we had another hand really that is interesting. Like we had this hand. So here we open raise, ace, ace, king, deuce. We check, call the flop, which is, might be close even, but with the ace of spades, the backdoor straight draw, we have some leverage there for sure. But I think it's very close. We could also maybe bet even the flop, just bet fold it. But we do have, of course, some showdown value with the ace. We block some stabs. So checking, we will see quite a bit of checkbacks also. I'm pretty sure about that. Now on the turn, we check again because we do pick up that straight draw. And therefore the EV of checking goes up a little bit. We could definitely lead, but I rather lead ace of aces with like weaker backup that I might have check called the flop with. But this is also close. Like we could lead because we will check call some nut flush draws, of course, that we now want to lead because our opponent won't stab enough. But we obviously also want to put some nuts in our checking range and then check raise some of those. And here I did decide to come in for the check raise and my opponent folds. What else did we have here really? Not too much here. We had this hand, yeah. Queen, queen, 5-5. We flat on the button, and like we do bet the flop here, which is okay, but we do want to realize that we don't have any backdoor flush draws, and therefore that we cannot allow ourselves to just bet this combination all the time on all the runouts if the straight doesn't change, I would say. So maybe this is one of those hands that we want to give up. For example, if the backdoor spades comes in because we don't have a spade in our hand, I think that's fine. But with one diamond, we do block a little bit more of my opponent's turn continues. So I think betting is fine. And on the river, I think we have a very easy shove here, hoping to fold out a two-pair hand or a set that didn't improve. But my opponent played the hand very well here with ace, king, king, jack. So nice for him. Let's see if we get also some hands on this table, actually. So we had this one. Oh, wait, it's here. So here we open raise on the button, 9-9-7-6. The big blind calls. We flop a gut shot. We got 3 hearts in my hand, so the EV of checking is a little bit weaker. We could definitely check back here for sure. I think that's fine. I did decide to bet though, which is also okay for sure. Turn is a great card, of course, with the 9 turning trips, turning a set basically. My opponent check raises, and we get it in great against a set of 5s there, but unfortunately my opponent rivers quads there. Do we have another hand here then maybe? I don't think so. No, let's see. I don't think so. Let's play a couple of more hands here. King 9-9-5, easy fold. These rainbow ones, you also just want to fold. Against a short stack player here, this one is a fold. Raising it up, jacks and sixes. We face a 3-bet. He's actually 3-betting small, which is kind of surprising, but we are just calling. Ace high boards generally pure checks, or at least high frequency checks. I think simplifying it to checking just all those combinations is fine. And I'm actually checking. And we could check raise here, but somehow like we do want to find some check raises here, of course. Like we will have some queen jack that we check twice here. But I'm not really sure what hands we want to pick there. I'm actually just folding. Might seem nitty with some good blockers there. And maybe because he checks back the flop, we actually have more reason to check raise because his range is more capped for sure. And his small sizing also feels a little bit weak, but I don't know. It just felt a little bit strange to me. And sometimes you gotta go with your guts, sort of. So let's just fold. Don't mind it. Here we are open raising kings. And we are checking. This is also a hand we are going to fold pre-flop. Check again. Let's see if we can go to showdown here. Maybe win against queens, for example. And we do win against queens. Nice. Small blind's flatting range is again heavily leaning towards those kings, queens, jacks, some single suited rundowns. At least that's what should be the case. Open raising kings from the small blind again. We got now 60 entries in the pool. Pretty nice. Here we flop top 2 pair and the backdoor not. We have actually 3 pair and the backdoor not flush draw. So I am going to just bet here. Could also check. This is pretty interesting. What is he doing here? What is he doing here? Against a pot size raise, it's so weird, like we block all the sets. I am going to call. And then, like, he could have some combo draws for sure. Don't think we can fold anymore on this card, so I'm just going to get it in myself. If he has aces, it's pretty unfortunate. Ace 10 also. Ace 10, so we are basically flipping. Luckily, we both have the king. Or at least I also have it. Here we are flatting. I mean, this is definitely close. Definitely close. Not sure how much I like his play, actually. The pot size raise there with ace 10. Here we are folding. Also folding this one, like a little bit disconnected if I would have the chance to raise. This would have been a raise, of course. I'm misclicking. And yeah, we're just going to call. And we're checking. Trying to get to showdown with top pair. And I think we're going to win, actually. Top pair and backdoor flush draw. Don't mind lead folding here, really. Don't think we can check raise. Check calling is also pretty awkward. So I'm going to lead fold this one. He does call. River a queen. Check. Yeah, maybe bluffing river is fine there. And I'm going to sit out next big blinds and call it a video for today. Definitely some interesting hands. Here, I think checking is the way to go with like the jack high flush draw. If my hand would be the other way around with the nut flush draw and the backdoor flush draw, I would have bet. But now I think we generally want to check. Pot size bet, not great. Not great. I mean, I'm considering calling because we also have some bluffing potential, but like we do have that low flush, like the jack high flush draw only. And against this sizing, we should definitely be more selective. His betting range is like top 2 pair plus, some nut flush draws with like a king, for example. And I think against most of those hands, we don't do that great. So I don't mind actually folding a little bit tighter there. And yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. First session here on Pokerstars. Let me know if you like this also, PLO 100 Zoom on Pokerstars, because I definitely can do a couple of more of these sessions. If you have some questions or any interesting spots that you noticed, let me know in the comment section below. And that being said, hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe to the channel, of course, and hope to see you soon with another episode here on YouTube. Take care and good luck at the tables. Bye-bye.